All right. Hey there, everybody. Chris Franks with Texas West Capital. We've made it to the end of the week one more time in spite of what happened there with crypto. It is just after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 21st of May, 2021. Coming at you live from beautiful Bernie, Texas. I keep telling you guys, man, if you come on down this way, you need to check out the Hill Country, man. Absolute gorgeous area. If you know how to ride motorcycles, even better. A lot of great roads to ride the bikes around down here. And of course, then we have San Antonio, which just has such a great atmosphere for families. So much stuff to do. Tons of water parks and lakes and rivers to go float. 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours from the beach. Really, just not a bad place to be. So good to see y'all checking in here. Hopefully, you guys are doing all right. Again, I tried to warn you guys for a few weeks coming up here that, your big accounts kept telling you to buy the dip. And we kept, I told you, if you want to be trading successfully, the best thing to do is to be consistent. And consistency means you wait for confirmations. We didn't have any of those confirmations every time somebody kept telling you to buy the dip. And then, of course, it ends up hitting that 30,000 area that we were talking about, which is the initial target off an ending diagonal. So, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys didn't get taken on that. Hopefully you were paying attention. But if you weren't, hopefully looking back now, you see that. A lot of times, guys, as new traders, we have to go through these initial big, painful moves to kind of get our head on straight. Because when we come in, especially if you come in a bull market, toward the top, of a bull market when everything's going all frantic, you tend to believe that you are better than what you are. You tend to believe that, hey, there's nothing to this whole trading thing. It's pretty simple, right? Pretty easy. It is simple, not always easy. Sometimes it takes a big move like what happened just a couple of days ago to really kind of slap you in the face and wake you up. But hopefully it did. Hopefully it did. If it did, you've got a good chance of continuing and becoming better. If it didn't, I'd say probably just to be honest, guys, probably get out. Because you're just going to end up wasting your money if you remain in. You have to learn, guys. You have to be open to learning. You have to be open to being humble and thinking, and understanding, especially when you're new, that you don't really know what's going on in the market. That it's probably not going to do the things that you think it's going to do for the reasons that you think it's going to do them. Even me now doing this for 25 years, I would never profess to know everything that's going on. I would never say, I've been doing this so long and I've been successful, so I definitely know what's going to happen. No, never. The minute I start doing that is when I'm not going to be making any more money. So hopefully that comes across, guys and gals, checking in. So who's here already? We got Oscar. What's up, man? Bianca checking in. Who else we got here? I'm Deuce. Scott's here. Napu. Let's see here. Hank, Spiral Architect. Gata. Mark, what's going on, man? Let me see here. Crypto Mowgli checking in for a bit. Data, Tell You Rider. Martin, what's up? Mike Kane's checking in there saying hello to everybody. Schlitterbahn, yeah, man. Schlitterbahn, if you guys don't know what that is, it's it's a water park in New Braunfels, which is right down the road from where I live here. And they actually use the river water to run it. But there's other Schlitterbahns. I think there's one down in what it is. I always get it confused. I think it's Galveston, not Corpus Christi. But anyway, yeah, down there, which is a little bit different. But this one here, yeah, uses the river water to run it. So, excuse me, hiccups here. So anyway, pretty cool area out here. Notorious, what's up, man? Good to see you checking in. Darren TV Canal, Gerardo, what's up, man? Am I starting my side hustle as the San Antonio tourism guy? No, you know what, really? I'll be honest with you guys, man. I've kind of lived, a lot of places in the world, Japan, Hawaii, a few others. And I never really thought I'd go back to a big city, and I hadn't been for years. And then I went to Lubbock, for law school. And then after that, I moved down here to San Antonio. And so I actually really kind of like it down here. I didn't think I would ever get back in that whole big city kind of thing. Of course, I don't live in the city. I live north of the city, but around those big cities. So it's more me just kind of recognizing that it is actually a pretty great area down here. So I tried to share it with everybody else. Oh, man. Let me see here. Who else is here? ARM, what's up, man? Wazobia Dollars. Hey there, buddy. Josh Johnson, still alive? Good to hear, buddy. Cue the actions here. Cody, Block Tech, Crypto Raid. Good to have you guys here. Jack Van Moss, is that your name? Says, I'm humbled by your insights and you saved my financial. But hey, man, I'm glad I could help you with that a bit. But at the end of the day, guys, even though I talk about charts, and kind of give targets and whatever, even with what we do at TWC, at the end of the day, it really is all about getting you guys to learn how to trade yourselves. Because, again, what happens if I'm not here, right? Everybody else there wants to sell you on the fact that they know what's going on, and because that's what you want to hear, right? So you go and you buy that. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, this is definitely going to do this because of this. It's all a sale. It's all just to make money, to sell you, to tell you what you want to hear so you can make money. And for me, it really is all about kind of getting you guys to learn how to trade. I think, I think if I do that, I think you hang around in the community anyway, because we've got so many great people. That seems to be the result. Again, so many of our members have been around for so long. But even if you don't, at least if you leave, I know that I've done something to potentially help you better your life. And so that's what I'm all about. And I guess that's probably where what I do kind of differs from potentially similar looking business models, or, let's face it, most of the people that you're paying money to online don't even have regulated business or anything. They don't have a tax ID number or anything like that. So, it is what it is. Cody thinks it's going to 13,000 lower if the equities fall apart. Oh, it's not getting to 13,000 unless the equities continue to fall. Yeah. This is something we've been talking about for a long time here. If equities fall off, guys, if the overall economy just kind of starts petering out and rolling off a cliff, there's no reason Bitcoin should continue higher. It's a risky asset. It does well on risk-on environments, which means when the market's going up, when the equity markets are going up and everybody's, moving into risk. But when that market falls off, guys, everybody moves out of risk. And so Bitcoin being practically the riskiest asset out there with its huge, what you just saw the other day, these huge moves, people tend to move out of it. So yeah, it's just the way it is. So we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about, we haven't confirmed the bottoms in yet for this drop. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, about what we're looking at, where it kind of needs to get to, the steps needed to kind of get up there. Same thing we always do. And then we'll take a look at a few other charts as well. Hey there, Brian. Good to see you. Lewis Winthorpe says we're all in it for the tech now, right? That's usually what people say, right? They go in, they buy, high at the top, and then it drops back and they say, oh, well, I'm in it for the tech. There, guys, in the grand scheme of things, there's really nobody in this for the tech. It's all about the speculation. It's all about the heights of which the dollar value can go with it. Everybody uses the idea, oh, we're in the tech, we're in it for the tech, or I'm in it because it's going to replace the dollar. All this other nonsense, right? It's all nonsense, guys. Stop believing the nonsense. People don't really believe that. They may try and say that to hopefully make themselves believe it. But really, they all talk about the dollar value because that's what they're interested in. Everybody's interested in the fiat value of Bitcoin. That's what it is. Nobody cares about the tech, to the extent that that's why they're in it. Maybe they like the tech and they hope that it can do something, but at the end of the day, it's all about the dollars. And they're going to lie to you day and night about it, and because they're probably lying to themselves. It's a speculative market right now, guys. That's all it is. It has the opportunity to become something more. This is what I've talked about over the last few years. But it just, right now it's just about the speculation, guys. As a talk about all the institutions coming in to drive price higher, whatever, guys, that has nothing to do with tech. That has to do with the value, the dollar value. I hope you guys understand that. Oh man, hey, what's up there, Ray Martini? Now you haven't really missed much. Let me see here. Diego says, risk management, you were so right. Yes, sir, all the time. It's all about risk management, guys. You are going to get nowhere as traders if risk management is not the number one thing in your mind. Okay? You've got to protect yourself against stuff like this. It's better to lock in a little bit of profit than to lose it all and potentially get liquidated, right? Being a successful trader means consistently locking in profit. Compounding and time will take care of the rest. It'll get you where you want to get. Stop trying to put a timeline on, like you got to be there next, tomorrow or this year or something. Stop doing that. If you need money right now, work. Find some way to make money. There are so many different ways you can do some kind of side hustle, guys. You just have to do it. You just have to get out there and do it. Think of your trading as a way in which you can provide security for yourself and your family over time. If you're starting with less than $50,000 or $60,000, guys, you're not going to, realistically, you shouldn't consider that you're going to be okay living on what you're making. You can sometimes, whatever, but it's much more the exception than the rule. You need to have a good base so that way your position sizing is large enough. But this is what new traders often do. They don't have that much money, so they overcompensate. They use these overly large position sizes. They use overly large leverage, and then they get liquidated like that. What'd they say? 800,000 people got liquidated? Something like $3.5 billion liquidated the other day? I mean, it's absolutely crazy, guys. Stop being one of those guys, okay? You're better than that. You're listening to me right now. If you're listening to me right now and you continue to fall into that trap, then you're not listening. You're not paying attention. That is on you. You have to, once you are made aware of what you're doing, if you choose not to change what you're doing, it is completely on you, guys. It is completely on you. You got to get it together. You got to get in there and do the right things, okay? And that way you guys can be successful traders. But, it takes time, okay? Let me see here. Hey, Leighton, what's going on, man? He says, big hello from a crappy, dull, gray day in London. Hey, we finally got a little bit of sun out there today. I can't complain too much. Let me see here. Yeah, Cody, exactly. Nobody cares about the tech. They care about the dollars. That's why you got laser eyes until 100K. That's why they tweet price levels every 10,000. It goes up. Exactly. Do you use fib retracements? Just wondering if I've drawn it correctly. I have a 6180 retracement for Bitcoin, approximately 35. Yeah, we'll take a look at that here in a minute. We'll take a look at the fibs here. Sure, yeah, I use fibs. Yeah, and you don't even have to be an Elliott Wave analyst to use fibs, guys. You can use the fib retracement tool. Your most important fibs are the 38.2 and the 61.8. Also in there, I'd throw the 50%. That's the Dow theory level, and then 70.5 is the institutional level. I'd put those in there as well. But overall, your 31.8, oh God, I can't even say it now. Your 61.8 and your 38.2 are your most important fib levels on there. Let's see here. Let's kind of catch in here. You say when we drop under 30, you will worry it's a closed candle or it can be a wick like was. We'll talk about that here in a minute, guys. We'll talk about it. Yeah, the ABC down was a 1618. So before we go on that, listen, guys, if you're new and you want to join us, you get updates, every day, multiple times a day. HowToTradeToWin.com is how you become a part of what we do here, guys. We've got the greatest group of traders in there, man. And it's just that they're so friendly and they've been around for so long. They don't kick anybody or, try and make fun of you or anything like that. They're all there to help. They're all to share their ideas. Everybody's learning all the time, including me. I'm still learning, guys. The minute you stop learning in life, not just with the markets, but with anything, and you think you know it all, is the day you start falling back. Just don't ever forget that. All right? Life is about continuing to learn. You can never learn everything there absolutely is to know about everything out there or about anything out there. All right? Be humble. So, let's see here. Excuse me. Let me give me some water here. Let me see here. Duff Trades, what's up? He says the top was the 1618 from the 2017 top to bare bottom on log values. Okay. Which would make it a wave 3, right? Off of that. But we'll talk about those stuff there. Let's see here. Ernest, what's up, man? Says, y'all have been so helpful in reminding us how important capital preservation and risk management is. Better to miss a little in gains to sleep knowing I'm not losing my wealth. Man, that's exactly it. Guys, you got to understand. If what you're trying to do, be honest with yourself. Are you trying to be a trader or are you trying to gamble? If you're only interested, if your real interest is buying the absolute low and selling the absolute high time and time again, then you're a gambler, if that, okay? As a trader, if you're a trader, then you understand that every day is going to give you an opportunity to make some money, okay? Some days are much better, worth trading than others. But the market's always going to move up. It's always going to move down. And so as a trader, you know that sometimes you're going to get in on these bigger moves and sometimes you're not. But you know that you're going to have chances constantly to make money. And that's what it means to be a trader, guys. So I know a lot of times you guys get in here and you stay glued to the charts every day, all day long, because you're just scared you're going to miss like some big move up, right? Or some big move down. But if you're going to be a trader, it's all about that day's activity. Once that day's done, it's done. Don't worry about it. You come back the next day, you start again. But if you're always worried about missing potential large moves, then you're probably a gambler more than anything else. Okay? Just kind of a heads up there, guys. Claudia, good to see you checking in, man. So here's what we have. We've got, again, we talked about, remember the idea, we talked about this probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, about the possibility that this was an ending diagonal here. But I said, there's also the possibility that we could have a triangle or that we could have a flat, right? And I said, so we have to work through these things first. And so we worked through the idea that maybe we've got a local flat and then maybe this larger triangle we were watching. But the breakdown below the swing low meant, hey, we've got a wedge here, an ending diagonal. And if we have an ending diagonal, as I told you, your initial target is the starting area of that diagonal, which is where we got. This green zone, I think, is the weekly, it's the weekly demand structure here. And notice, we basically bounced right around the EQ. So, those of you that are in tier 3, and you've gone through the training on how I develop my supply and demand structures, which often are in wicks, but not every wick, and many times it's also within candlestick structure. So don't just think it's just because it's a wick, but this is what we generally expect, right? So right now, from a weekly standpoint, the candle's not looking too bad. We've got further that the RSI can fall here. Right now, we're just about at the bottom of neutral here, 45.92. Remember, my neutral, many times when people are doing RSI, their neutral is 50. Mine's 45 to 55. I give it a little leeway either way. So for me, we're right on the bottom edge of neutral here with the RSI. And so, if we look at this point to here, we've got higher lows. And if we look right here, we've got lower lows. But we've got some pretty big movement in between. So, overall structure, demand is trying to show that it's trying to show up. That's what we get out of this. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a hidden bullish divergence here between this point. But I would say that because you've got the higher lows in price and the lower lows here on the oscillator, that it does mean that demand is trying to make an appearance. It's trying to show up. It's trying to take you out. Trying to take it back up. So we want to see how does this end, at the end of this week. The further up this closes, the more bullish it is. But it still doesn't guarantee that the bottom would be in, okay? But we'll take a look at that there. Again, I told you, what was it? Probably one of the streams before the drop, I said I didn't, or maybe I was just talking to Discord. Guys, I don't know. It's one of y'all. But I mentioned that I wasn't too excited about the monthly look here because we had this doji, which signals a pause, and then we had this large kind of, at the time we were up still around 40,000, I think. We had this large supply spread candle here on the monthly, and I said, man, that almost looks like it wants to be a confirmation of a reversal on that. So for the end of the month here, which comes in about 10 days, man, you want to see this moving up. Because, again, we don't have confirmation that this is bottom, that it's done. The count we look at says maybe 3, that this might have been 3 of 3, and then this is 4 of 3, or maybe even this is a macro 3 and this is a macro 4 playing out. But, the reality is, depending on how you count this, you can get 5 up here as well. Now, I'm not a big fan of that 5 just yet. I'm going to need to see more breakdown for that. But, the possibility's there. So we definitely want to see this kind of moving up. You have this large bit of bearish divergence here, right here. But I don't really consider that like I would. I'm not as excited about this as I would be if we didn't have this large move here. You've got this large thrust up and back to, so this peak in the middle of it, which would suggest that you go from this peak to this one, and then from this one to this one. And so if you're going from this peak to this peak, it's not divergence there. So I would think what we're going to have here is, I think, again, this is 3 of 3, this is 4 of 3, and we've got 5 of 3 still coming, right? So I would think that we'd probably have some push up here to give us bearish divergence maybe right there, and then kind of have it come down for the 4, and then the 5 up, and just continue working that bearish divergence really between this kind of peak here and that wave 5 peak that'll be. I think that's probably what we'll have. We'll have to see. It's not a big deal. This is the monthly. It's not a big deal that we're up here and overbought so much because, as you can see, it stayed up there almost the entirety here of that 2016 to 17 run. It's a larger time frame, so you'll often stay oversold or overbought on Stochh RSI for a while. Again, overbought here from March of 18 until April of 19. So a year stayed overbought, right? Or oversold. So I wouldn't really worry about that a whole lot there, guys, okay? Let's see here. Now, my one concern, I'll show you right now, my concern is that we haven't broken into the range yet. We need to reclaim this range here. But when you're looking in terms of Wyckoff and you see this would end up being a terminal shakeout here. And so after a terminal shakeout, you usually have a pullback, a secondary test, which just means a drop back down. Doesn't go all the way down the bottom, usually into the wick somewhere here. And what you're looking for on that drop is you want to see volume much lower than it was here. Okay? And that seems like it's going to be a pretty easy thing. I mean, that would have to be some serious selling to get it above this volume here, right? It can happen, but I don't think it's going to. So as long as you have, if you pull back here into this here a bit, and you get this secondary test, your volume should be much lower, and that's a successful test. Because what that means, there's a lot less interest down here. And if there's not a lot of interest down here, price should float its way back up at best, or at least. And then you would look for that move back up into the range here. And so, again, it's possible you could look at something like this, and then up here and back down, and up here kind of thing. Something like that even. And so you get these last points of support here as it's moving up. So you get this, your phase A, then you have your phase B, and then you have your phase C here, and then you have your phase D, which is the interior markup, and you'll have phase E, which is your exterior markup. And you start getting that show of strength back up the edge of the creek and going on. This right here with this change of character here would be your preliminary supply area right there. And so what we usually expect is for price to dip back down to that area and then continue up if it's reaccumulation. So that's what I'm kind of looking at the moment there. We had a little bit of volume show up here in this range. The only place volume really showed up was right here, which just sent price back up. And then after that, you have a spike of volume on this candle right here that breaks down through this level, through this support. And then you got a spike of volume here, which breaks down through this support. It's where you've only got it. You don't have this constant big push of supply off the top here. So I'm real hesitant to say this is distribution here. So what I think we're basically, what I'm kind of expecting us to look at here is, this being the bottom here, and then it heads up and, maybe 70, maybe 85 kind of area, comes back down then to potentially a little bit smaller, a little bit lower drop here for wave 4, or right around this area. And then you get that wave 5 break on up. So that's what I'm still kind of looking at. So it basically makes this the whole range here. It'll basically make this the whole range. And so what's kind of interesting about that is if we look at this as the whole range, well, then we can kind of do something like this here. And so then we'll get something more along the lines like this, which in terms of this larger range would say, okay, buying climax, automatic rally, or I'm sorry, buying climax, selling climax, automatic rally, pulls back, get a bit of a, maybe a spring, or maybe it stops a little bit below. You just get a last point of support here, and then you get your move up, and that finishes it, and then you're down. But this then becomes potentially just this, this is a pretty large range here. But it potentially just becomes one big distribution scenario from this area right here. Because then your move up, depending on how high this goes, again, you could get a blow off, it goes way the heck up there. Otherwise, you're stopping it around, 90, 100. And so then this could become then your up thrust. This becomes your up thrust after distribution. And then you get your area down here. So I can definitely see this starting out much more something like that with this coming up. So I think I'm probably going to move from the range what I was at to probably this is the range here. And we'll work with this larger structure here. And in which case, this would become the beginning of your distribution here. So, we'll see how this works out. This becomes wave B then, phase B or whatever, which gives you then, this to wave 3 here, whether it's here or here. Gives you that up thrust, comes back down to ST in phase B, which, again, could close up here, could close down lower. I think if we're going to get an up thrust after distribution, it's going to close higher than the swing low here. So when we look back at it, when we come down for wave 4, it would make sense to then see it probably tag this area here. Wow, hit the wrong button there. We'll just use this here to hit this demand structure right here, and then take off out of give us an up thrust after distribution that completes wave 5 here. Something like this maybe. And so right now, I'm watching what's going on here. I want to see some kind of, whether it's this one right here, this immediate one pull back, or we have a little bit further to go. I want to see a secondary test with much less volume than what we had here to kind of signal that we're going up. I want it to reclaim, in this case, of this range, it's the EQ here. I want to get it back above that EQ. And then I'll be looking for a breakout top of the range, wave 3 complete, wave 4 back down into this demand structure, and then wave 5 up and out and finishing out. And then that would be, potentially this much larger kind of overall distribution kind of thing. That's what that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. Now, all this changes if we drop down below the swing low here. If we drop down below this swing low, again, that opens up, if we look at this right here coming off the top, this is A or 1, this is B or 2, and the 1618 is just a little bit above. It went a little bit beyond that. So there's a good, potential for this to be an ABC. Or I'm sorry, a 1, 2, 3 here. And then you'd be looking at wave 5 down here around 24,100, 24,200, which is the 50% retracement of this thing. And so your wave 4 is actually perfectly where you expect it to be at the 38.2 retracement back up here. That's the 1.0 on this pull down, right around 42,000. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 down here, which gives us just an A. And then we'll 3 up for a B, and then we'll 5 down for a C. Minimum. So that's, still a possibility here. And that gets us, well down. Much lower than you guys probably want to go. But as long as we're above where we are right now, we're good. Let me kind of zoom in. By the way, you'll notice on the daily here that we, again, we're down and oversold here with RSI and Stochh RSI here. So that gives us a good place to start for movement up if it's going to move up. 4 hour, we kind of popped up here, almost topped out and overbought, kind of pulling back. RSI, you notice we came off this bullish divergence here, coming down. And we moved up off of that, and we kind of hit the neutral area here on RSI. And now we're getting this move down. Let's see here. Let me see here. Hey, Vishwa, go get a life, man. I usually answer a heck of a lot of questions here. Why don't you just relax yourself, man? God, I can't stand rude people. You need to get a life, man. I mean, seriously. I've spent how many years doing this? I answer more questions than most anybody else out there. Sit back and relax. Sorry. Sorry, that just ticks me off, man. I can't stand rude people, man. It pisses me the heck off. Gosh. People need to get a life. All right. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm going to get rid of this person here real quick. This other person, since they want to come in there. Anyway, man, I'm going to tell you what right now, man. I will ban you in a hurry. I don't normally do that, but you're going to tell me to relax after you were being disrespectful and rude? I don't think so, man. If you're new, you need to sit back and listen, because I'm going to give you a lot more than you'll get from anybody else online. I'll tell you that right now. All for free. So the only one that needs to relax is you, all right? Man, I don't know what's getting into me this morning, why I'm letting this bother me so much, but dang it, I cannot stand rude people. This morning, I don't know. Maybe it's all the personal stuff going on, with my brother-in-law right now, in the hospital and everything, but man, just let's not do this, all right? All right. So let me get to finish what I'm telling you guys here, and then as usual, I'll kick in and answer all the questions that I can and everything, okay? So what are we looking at locally here? Well, right now, again, let me go ahead and stick this on the 1 day here. Man, I probably just lost a whole bunch of new people watching then because of that, but you know what? It is what it is. You guys know what I'm about if you've been here for a bit. So what we're looking at, what I've been talking about is that we have this 3 waves up, 3 waves back, 3 waves up. So my idea is maybe that we've got this leading diagonal going on here. And if we do, it should terminate somewhere around this 44.9 area, which gets us right below this wave 4 of 5 of C. And that would get us then a 1 and then a pullback probably to around 39,000, 39,100 around there to give us a 2, and then we'd have a 3 up. Now, the other possibility is this count I'm showing you here, which suggests maybe we've got a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2 as a flat correction going on here. So what does this mean? Well, it means we've got... my issue with this is that we've still it really only looks like we've got 3 up here. I don't know, maybe we can zoom in a bit here on the 15-minute. 1, 2, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's such a kind of count here. But we can look here and go, it looks like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, you've got this whatever's going on here. But if this is going to be, then we've got basically, this would be wave C, and we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 probably printing, and a 5. Now, it's going to have to reverse prior to this swing low that I've got here. As long as it reverses prior to this swing low and gets back above this swing high up here, then this is, this 1, 2, 1, 2 still holds. And in that case, we're probably looking for a 3 up here at around 47.1, 47.2, around that. So that'd be a 1, 2, and then 3 of the larger 3 here. And then we'd look for 3 getting at least here at 50,585, probably up closer to 53,000, though, making some extension of wave 3 or 5. If this breaks down below this swing low, though, this count that you see here is invalidated. And in that case, I think what we're going to have to look at maybe is maybe this is one large flat here. Because if you drop down below this swing low, it's also not going to be a leading diagonal, because you can't drop down below wave 2. So then you have to look at this as being a 1, and then ABC down for A, ABC up for B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for C. Now, what that can do, if this is the case, and this is just a large flat playing out here, remember what I talked about back here on the daily, and I talked about how we've got this terminal shakeout here coming on here, right? And when you have a terminal shakeout, you have to have a secondary test. And all that means is price comes back down into, again, as I said, probably that wick area there, and you want it on much lower volume to be a successful test. And that'll tell you that price should then go head up. So if this count right here ends up just being a 1, and then this is something like this, where this is a 1, and then A, B, C coming down. So you get your wave 2 back down here. Then that accomplishes all that, keeps this good here, and then you should see a really strong rally off those lows. The only time that you guys, I think, need to really start worrying is if price drops below the low here from 2 days ago. If it gets below that, again, remember, we have got a 1618 extension right here, which makes this a good candidate for a 1, 2, 3. This has only gone up 38.2, so a 4, and then you have your 5 lower of what I was talking about. So if we drop below that, I'm going to look at this as 5 printing down. Look for that target down there in the 20s that I talked about, and then we'll get 3 up, and then you've got another 5 down. But here's my thing, though, guys. Here's my thing. We have had a ton of negative, it seems like a ton of negative information over the last few weeks, right? Again, I keep talking about this. Musk and his nonsense, Square, and then, of course, saying that Tesla wasn't going to accept payments in Bitcoin anymore, and then Square saying they're not going to buy any more Bitcoin for their treasury. And then we've had the China stuff, which again comes out a little bit this morning, some more on it. But market tops, like the top of a bull run, doesn't come on negative news. It comes on euphoria. It comes on positive news. It gets everybody to believe that price can't possibly ever stop going down. It's going to keep going up forever. That's when market tops, that's when bull runs stop. And we didn't have that. We have the negative news right here. So it seems to me that it is much more likely to be, I mean, right now we're still looking at 3 of 3 because it hits that 38.2 retracement, right? Of that move, right? If we go here and we measure out what was wave 2 to what we believe is wave 3 there, let me see here. And then I do this right here, and then there we are. And so as you can see, it hits the 38.2. Remember, I kept talking about all that confluence, why the 30,000 area was a good probable target if we drop down below that 40 area, right? Again, the original target for a leading diagonal, 38.2 retracement for a wave 4, which is what you look for, all those things, right? So it seems to me much more like this what it is. I mean, worst case scenario I'm thinking right now is that it's 3. It's the macro 3. I don't think it is. I think we've still got, and if we look at this as the larger Wyckoff distribution range here, this would make sense. This 3, the pullback, the 4, and then the 5 up as your up thrust after distribution, and then have it coming on back down. So everything seems to align that it's much more likely discount than whatnot. But until we get the moves up, it's still possible to roll lower. Now, so what are we looking for? So here's the levels you want to watch. As we move up, as long as price stays above this swing low, the first thing we need to see is a move above this right here. This on Kraken, this is 45,823 and 40 cents. If we can get above that, then that says this is wave 5 here, right? Wave 5. Here's wave 4, here's wave 5. This is wave 4 of 5. If we get above that, that means wave 5 here can't subdivide any lower down. So that means this should be done. Now, the next step is to get above wave 4 up here for the same reason. Because if we get through that wave 4, then this wave 5 can't subdivide. So this wave 4 here is your first subtle clue that the bottom may be in. This is your first real clue that the bottom may be in. And this is up here about 51,540. But you have to get up here above 59,600 basically, this wave B, to just really feel confident about that bottom being in. Because until you get above wave B, this could still subdivide as larger waves. But once you're above wave B, all of a sudden, A, B, C, you can't subdivide any lower down. So this is definitely 3 down and done. And at that point, when you're above that, you're heading up there to that 72,000, 75,000, maybe even higher, depending on how it plays out as it gets up there. Those are the levels you need to watch, guys. Every time you're getting above one of those levels, that should increase your confidence that the bottom is in. If you get rejected for those levels and you come back on yourself here, especially drop below this swing low, then that's it. This count is not done on that decline. So that's kind of where we're at with this right now. It's not too difficult. Those are your 3 levels you're watching. That's it. Well, you're watching these 3 levels to the top side, and you're watching the swing low. Those are the only things you have to watch. Big picture, if the bottom's in or not. Now, I think it is. Again, giving you what I've told you already. But we don't trade on what we think, right? We trade on confirmations. So locally here, we're going to watch this count. And if this count plays out where we get a reversal prior to this swing low right here at 35,000, and we move up above wave B here at 42,270 and 60 cents, then that will add a lot of confidence to the idea this is a 1-2-1-2. And again, we'll look up here at least around 47,350, 47,400 at least for that interior wave 3. Which just means that takes us above wave 4 here and should take us eventually above wave 4 here, which again adds in all the positive likelihood that we're heading up. If we drop down below this swing low, again, the count changes to a 1, and then ABC down for A, ABC up for B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, getting down here as a C for a flat correction for this wave 2. And then what we would look for is a breakout above this swing, because this would be the B up here, this 42,559.80. But however, as we're looking at that, this will make 5 waves down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a breakout above that wave 4 will be your first clue that this wave 2 as a flat is correct and you're heading up. Again, it's all about the wave 4s, the wave 2s, and the Bs. Those are your validation, invalidation levels on whatever count you're looking at. So like I said, I don't think you have anything to worry about unless we drop below that low from 2 days ago, in which case then it looks like this right here is nothing more than an ABC for wave 4. And we're heading down, or who knows, it could be an ABC here for an A, and then B, and then C, do a triangle here. But the idea is this would be wave 4, and we'd have wave 5 lower down toward what I say, 24,000 or whatever that was. So yeah. I cannot tell you guys, hey, listen guys, one thing I want you to understand is that I take what I do very seriously here. I know there's going to be people online here in the U.S. that are going to tell you what they think you need to do when you're giving them your background and whatever. SEC securities or SEC regulations prohibit anybody from telling you what you should do specifically unless you hold an RIA license, a registered investment advisor license. I do not have that at the moment. So, understand that if you're asking me what should you do, I cannot tell you that by law, okay? If I do, that's a federal crime, and I can go spend some time in federal jail, and I'd rather not do that. So just understand that when you're asking those questions, guys. If somebody's outside the U.S. and, they're beholden to whatever laws of wherever they're at. But, crypto Twitter doesn't seem to really look up laws too much before they open their mouths. So just understand that I can't tell you guys what you need to do or whatnot. But here's what I can say. Here's what I can say. If this is the bottom, here, we're headed up like I believe we are overall, then everything else should rise, in general, should rise with it. I've been talking about this for years. I've been using I've been telling you guys that Bitcoin is like the rising tide lifts all ships, right? So if Bitcoin's doing well, if Bitcoin's rising, in general, everything else basically pulls up with it. If Bitcoin does poorly, as you saw here with the drop, everything else drops with it. So if I'm correct here, and this is heading up, then generally everything else should rise with it, especially if it is a larger, market cap, whatever you want to call it, up there in the rankings in the top 10 or something like that, which puts it a lot closer to, or especially the top 5, puts it a lot closer to Bitcoin in terms of value. Overall with the market cap value, whatever, I'm not a big believer in that whole idea of market cap, just because, we're talking about market cap's used to identify, companies, guys. It's used for company valuations. These aren't companies. But anyway, those that have come out to that same value are up there, so in the top 10 or whatever, should generally hold pretty close to what Bitcoin does. So I can tell you that. But just because Bitcoin drops below here doesn't mean any of the other ones need to drop with it. It means they probably will. But you're always going to have some outliers, guys, just like you do in the stock market or otherwise. I keep pointing out, remember, during the 2018 bear market there, remember, BNB continued to rise. During the 2019 bear market there, from June on back, remember, Link continued to rise. So there's always outliers. But in general, if Bitcoin is firm and continues rising, then everything else kind of rises with it. It's a risk-on environment if Bitcoin's rising. If Bitcoin's dropping, it becomes a risk-off environment for other cryptocurrencies. And then you see them drop as well. People getting out or getting liquidated or whatever else is going on there. So, yeah. Okay? So, just some thoughts on that. What do I think about VeChain? I don't think much about companies at all in the crypto space, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. I've been saying this for a while now. This is the entire cryptocurrency market, guys, is speculation. There's the possibility that some of these companies will end up doing well at some point, and we can talk about, they're a great company and they're worth putting money into. Right now, it's nonsense. Right now, it's purely speculation. Don't worry about the company fundamentals and whatnot. Understand that everything is rising or dropping based on speculation. All right? People are going to tell you, especially new traders, or people who are online and think that they're more than what they are, they're going to tell you, I'm buying this because, man, it's so great. It's such a great project, whatever. And it may be. It may look like it. But as long as the cryptocurrency market is speculative, is almost wholly speculative right now, it's not going to make a lot of difference. Good companies or companies that have great possibilities and great ideas may never make it. This happens in the real world too, guys. It depends on who's speculating in it that it's going to go higher there. It's just that compared to the equities market, which have been around forever and a day, cryptocurrency market is still new. It's only been around 10, 11 years, whatever. It's speculation, guys. Personally, I like what VeChain does. I've made a lot of money with them in the past. But if you're wondering why it's rising right now, or why it's been rising, because of speculation. That's it. It's not rising because it's doing anything fantastic. That'll be the narrative that some people use for buying into it or whatnot, but it's rising because, in general, people are banking on it going higher so that other people will buy it so that they can get out, make profit. Okay? Same thing with ZEC, guys. Same thing. Again, guys, I'm going to tell you, and I know this is hard to accept, it's hard to believe for a lot of y'all, but this is just a speculation market. I don't care how big the person on the other side is talking to you and telling you otherwise. I don't care what kind of money they run or whatever. The reality of it is the market's rising because of speculation. Not because the market's this great, and not because of whatever they're putting money into, is going to, because of whatever it's doing, it's going to cause it to rise in price. It's a feedback loop going on here in crypto Twitter, guys, and in other social media. Dogecoin is the biggest example. God, I hear so many people right now, the new people just saying, oh yeah, it's a new paradigm. Oh, it's going to flip Bitcoin. Oh, it's going to be the world reserve currency. It's going to be the leading payment currency. It's just, guys, honestly, most likely that's nonsense. Most likely. I can't guarantee it is, but most likely it is. Dogecoin has always been and will likely always be just a joke. We love it. Those of us in crypto have been in a while. We love it. It's been a great thing. But we understand what it is. I think the dev said he developed it in like 2 hours or something originally. Don't let, especially if you're new to the market, guys, don't let all this hype and all this emotional nonsense get into your head and get you believing a bunch of nonsense, because you're going to end up, if you didn't lose money on this drop, you're going to end up losing money on the next one. You will, because you're going to buy into this nonsense so much. And you say, oh, but Pomp, but Jason, or whatever his name is, parabolic guy or whatever. Oh, but they're so bullish, and they said that it's going to do all this and that. Yeah, you know what? Those are the same guys that were telling you to buy the dips in 65,000, guys. And if it goes up, like I think it will, and it goes up about 65, they'll say, look, we were right. But no, they really weren't, because they were expecting it to turn around much sooner than it did. They weren't expecting to go down to 30. And you notice those people that have done that, all of a sudden, all over their Twitter profiles, it's all about the diamond hands now. Oh, look at me. I'm such a stud. Diamond hands. Yeah, after you said it wasn't going to get down this low, after you said multiple times the bottom was in, it was going up from here, after you said all these times, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And you know what? If you guys are new in here, most of you that are new are not going to listen to me. You aren't. You're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. And you're going to just go on and do your own thing, and that's up to you. Like I said, I lead horses to water all day long. I can only hope they drink, okay? I can't make you drink. I can't make you believe. But there's a reason I've been doing this for a quarter of a century now. And you haven't. Some of it may be just because you're young and just getting started. Maybe you're not 25 yet. But seriously, you can't be in it for this time, for this length of time, and be doing things wrong. You see what I'm saying? I must be doing something right. So, it's up to you to decide if you're going to listen and learn, or if you're going to just kind of be, be very egotistical and believe that you know what's going on and whatnot. Either way, it's on you guys. But I know that most of y'all, if you're new, you're going to laugh at what I'm saying right now, and you're going to think whatever, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. I know. It happens all the time. It is what it is. Either they come around eventually, and then they start making money, or they continue believing the nonsense, and they lose it all, and they're out of the market, and they talk about how it's manipulated, how somebody stole their money, all this kind of stuff, instead of taking responsibility for themselves. Okay, guys? Can I show that big ABC where C is the final target? Not sure which ABCs you're talking about here. My ABC right here that I'm looking at starts from up here at that, I think it's right around 65. Yeah, about 64,590. Somewhere right around that all-time high. So then A gets down here at around 49.3. B is up here around 59.6. Let me see here. Yeah, right around 59.6. And then C is down here around this 28.5 kind of area. Or 29.8, I'm sorry, on Kraken. So yeah. Let me see here. CBF, what's going on, man? He says, an old mentor of mine would always start his lessons with, I'm going to tell you what to do, but most people won't do it. They have to try and reinvent the wheel first. And it is, guys. It is the reality of it. And so, I'll say things and talk about new traders and new retail traders. Don't ever take it as a slight. I was there. When I started 25 years ago, for the first 4 years or so, that was me. I had to make the decision to stop hemorrhaging money and to actually learn what was going on in the market, to humble myself and understand, that I don't know what I'm doing. I had to tell myself that after 4 years of doing it, I really had no clue what I was doing. Because I'll get that feedback sometimes. Somebody will be like, you know what, man? I've been doing this for 3 years or 5 years. And I'm not a new trader. And I'll say, okay, so have you been consistently profitable? Well, no. Okay. So for 4 or 5 years, you've been repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And you're just feeding money to market. You aren't experienced. You're still new. You haven't made it beyond that yet. And that's not meant to be a slight. Again, guys, my story, I've told you guys so many times. So I speak about this from a point of being there, having been there, done that. But again, no matter what I tell you guys, it's going to be up to you to decide if you want to listen or not. All right? Yeah, crypto Twitter is definitely an echo chamber. Hey, no bamboo, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Sure. Oh, the macro, if we drop under here, an ABC macro, if we drop under here. How many years losing money? For just 99 or so? Yeah, so about 4 years is how long I was losing money. A lot of money before I started changing things. Yeah. Macro ABC, let me see here. Are you talking about maybe like this being an ABC? I don't think so, man. I mean, you're going from 20 to 65. And really, this would have to be your ABC here. Let me go and move this out to the monthly here. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know, man. You look at this and you go, and so there's the 4618. It's a bit above that. Even if you change this though to log scale here, I mean, you get the 1618 there, which still says 1, 2, 3 potentially. And by the way, when you're looking at this larger time frame, I'm starting to use the log scale on these extensions and retracements on these bigger pictures now because they seem to be working. I'm still hesitant to use them on anything short term, 100 or 200% difference in price. But when you're getting up there 400% or larger difference in price, these are really working out well. It gets you to a good place. But again, this is where I say, well, it could be the macro 3, but if we zoom in here, just taking kind of a quick look here, again, 1, 2, that's what we're looking at, right? But then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives us the 1, 2, 3. Then you pull a 4 back to this area and a 5 up. So even in terms of Elliott Wave, your 4 is going to end around your 4 of the lesser degree. That's what we usually look for. Remember, we talked about that as well. This right here, hitting this area, was wave 4 coming into wave 4 of the lesser degree. Right? Let's zoom in here real quick. Here's the 4 of the lesser degree. This is wave 4 of 3 here. And this larger wave 4 came back right to that wave 4. And so the same idea here. That's why I think we're going to get a higher low out of this, probably into this wick here, into this demand structure here. We'll get this wave 4 somewhere in here, and then we'll get that wave 5 up. Again, 4 coming to 4. So, yeah. Nathan, what's up? He says, so if none of this makes sense to a scrub like myself, default to diamond hands. Again, guys, generally in a market that moves right and up, which is equities, crypto, whatever, generally, yes, you can buy and hold, and most of the time you're going to continue to make money. Your big issue comes with where do you buy in relation to where the top ends up being? Because it works until it doesn't anymore. And so like right now, if you bought up here around this 65,000 or 60,000 area and you held down to where we are right now, as far as I'm concerned, if you're spot, this is not the place to sell because there's two possibilities right now. One is this is 4 and it's going to higher, in which case you'll be making money. The other possibility is this little pullback here is 4. We have 5 down a little bit lower, and then we'll have 3 back up, giving you a chance to probably sell at less of a loss. Rather than trying to sell here, you might be able to sell, $5,000 or $10,000 higher as your wave B comes in and then you come down. Now, I can't guarantee that this is either way. This is the way it's going to work out, but generally speaking, this is most likely what's going to happen. And I'm really leaning toward this again being 4 for the reasons I explained earlier. Whether just, Elliott Wave or Wyckoff or the whole idea of how bull runs tend to end on positive news and euphoria and everybody believing it can't possibly go down, to whereas it reverses at the bottom, down here, on the continuation of negative news and everybody believes it can't go up any further. that it's not going to go up any further. It's going to continue down lower. Remember, that's what we had here. Remember all the negative news and all the negative Nancy's out there saying it was going down to $1,517, I think I heard as well. And we were over here. We said, no, that's probably the bottom there. Go ahead. We're going to be buying on the way up, and we bought on the way up that. So again, just everything else aside, from the idea of sentiment and news and whatnot's going on, it doesn't mark a normal top. Tops generally are very positive. That's why it takes people by surprise. Same thing with bottoms, generally very negative. That's why it takes people by surprise when it goes up, when it reverses. Hey there, Merv. That's right, exactly. Again, so this is kind of what we're thinking here. Now, again, the other possibility is maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the top. Again, it would be extremely weird because of the news side of that and all the negative news coming in. But maybe that's the top. And so then the question is, okay, do we have the move down and then the next move up? Now, again, I don't believe there's any reason to think right now that Bitcoin, even if this was the top and Bitcoin came way down here, that it wouldn't continue up higher. I don't have any reason right now to believe that. All right? The same reason I said up here that, as we were coming down here, I said, listen, if you bought up there and you're still holding, it's most likely going to head up higher. I don't see any reason for it to go out of existence yet. There isn't anything I can see happening at the moment that says, oh, it's no longer there. Now, if that were to be here and it came down, anything can happen between where we are and where it would get. So that could change. But this is the nature of being in the markets, guys. Nobody can guarantee you what's going to go on. Nobody can guarantee you where price is, where it's headed. All we can do is make our best guesses based on what we know. All right? And so, based on what I know, what I've collected as far as ways to read the market over, 25 years now, I think this is probably, right now I'm thinking wave 4 of 3. But could potentially be wave 4 of 5. But really kind of leaning toward wave 4 of 3. And if we can make those moves up from where we're up through those levels I told you about, those wave 4s and wave B, that's going to add a heck of a lot of likelihood to what I believe it is right now at the moment. And, I think you guys know I bought Litecoin already. I bought it at the lows down there let me see here, at an average price of $176.23, and then another buy at an average price of $199.23. Which means right now I'm a tad bit underwater, which is fine because my risk management says I'm not losing a whole bunch even if it drops below here. But if it does drop below this swing low, I'm out. I'm out. Now this is Bitcoin, but I mean, with the similar place there on Litecoin is what I'm talking about. But why did I pick Litecoin? Because Bitcoin during this cycle is really, soared above its all-time high from 2017. Ethereum soared above its all-time high. And so I think that Litecoin still has its run to push through it. And so I'm looking to make bigger advance on that. Sure. Let me kind of catch up with you guys there. Like I said, if we lose this bottom here, if we lose this low, I mean, I'm getting questions. I'm trying to answer them here. Again, if we lose this low, to me, right now, the count looks pretty clearly a 1, 2, then 3, 4, and we'll get a 5 down there toward whatever it was I said at the beginning of the show here, 24,000 and some change there. And that would be an A, and then we'd have a B up, and then we'd have a C down, and, something like that. Oh, man, I don't even know at the moment. We'd have to see if we got a 38.2 or a 61.8 retracement on the wave B. But probably around 16.5 here. Right now, I would assume that we get the 5 around 24 and some change. We get 3 up for an ABC up to around wave 4 up here. So around this 41 to 43,000 area, which then wave C would equal wave A at around 16.5 or so. But I don't, again, guys, I don't think that's what's going on at the moment. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. Let's see here. Ray Martini, what's up? Says, I saw a pretty convincing analysis that Link had completed its 5th wave on the 1 day. I won't pretend to know Elliott Wave, but would be interested to see your thoughts on it. Could that also, if true, signal a top for Bitcoin as everything is moving with Mama Bitcoin? Well, no, I think you have to look at the other way. You wouldn't look at Link being, signaling that everything else is coming down. You look at Bitcoin signaling everything else is coming down. So, yeah. So if we look at that Link chart, again, everything, we keep up with a lot of these, on the daily here, guys. So if you're tier 2 or tier 3 member, we have a lot of, we keep you updated with all these, right? And so right now, as far as Link goes, I think we've got here basically 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got this ending diagonal here for 5 of 3, which would just align it with Bitcoin. This would just align it with Bitcoin. Again, you get your 4 between your 38.2 and your 50. That's where you look for it to get to as a wave 4. And then you look for your move up, either 67 or a secondary target of 96 for wave 3 there. But again, that all depends on if that low holds there. Does that low end up holding? So again, if I'm looking at this coming off the top of Link, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B, and then of course you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to get you your 4. And then this looks like what I'm talking about is a possibility of Bitcoin, which is a flat here maybe. So you've got 1 up, ABC down for A, ABC up for B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, which in this case should take it, around where it is, maybe a little bit lower here. But that just gets you your 1 and then you're flat for your 2, and then you have 3 up. So what you're going to want to look for is for price to stay above the swing low and then to move back above this wave B swing high here at $33.05 or so. And if you're doing that, then, you kind of get this, maybe something like this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That might be 5 at the bottom there. We can look on the 1 hour here. We're kind of dipping out of oversold here. Stoke RSI, not quite bottomed out, so it could still have a little bit further to go. Stoke RSI there. But, if that's the bottom, wave 3 is right up here about $50.15. Wave 5 up there around $59.43. And that just gets you 5 up. So is that 5 up and done? Well, it's 5 up above wave 3. It could be done. Overextensions could take it higher toward these targets here. Or it could be just wave 1 of 5. And then you got wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. So, my Link chart says we're similar to what's going on with Bitcoin at the moment here. If we're looking at that. So, again, coming out of this reaccumulation range down here and taking it up, and you get your back up at the edge of the creek here, and then you've got your move up getting us there. So, yeah. Let's see here. Do we got jerk offs here in the thing here? Let me see here. If we do, let me know, guys, and so I can go ahead and just kick them. I don't have time for the nonsense. We got children in here. I don't have time for it, really. Kaz is shilling. Well, Kaz, guess what, buddy? I'm going to have to get rid of you, man. I'm sorry, guys. You got to let me know. I wish I could do it, but he's out. Just a lot of talked about today, you guys. I'm talking a little bit more than what I normally do at first. Just a lot to talk about here, I think, kind of building a case for why this is potentially, wave 4. And here's the thing, whether you're looking at just Bitcoin or Litecoin, BCH, Ethereum, potentially XRP, Link, BNB. You find a lot of the accounts are starting to align on this fourth drop here. So yeah. Give Hank the hammer? I don't know. That might be too much power for Hank. I don't know how I can do that here. Let me see here. I'll have to check this out, guys, and see how I can do this. I can't do it from the restream thing here. I'll have to do that. Dominique, what's going on? I said, I heard there will be a push to 25K for Bitcoin so people could sell so the whales can buy it up. Is this true? You know what? Oh, here's the thing, though. I've seen a lot of nonsense going on. Somebody posted something and said, oh, yeah, Chinese investors, they're going to bankrupt somebody, and that's why it's going down. Oh, my gosh, guys. If you were here watching, you knew it was likely going to drop down if we lost that 40 area. So that person writing that is probably just looking at the same thing going, okay, well, if we drop through, then I'm going to look like I'm smart here, and people are going to listen to me because I said that. I think it's a bunch of nonsense, guys. I don't think anybody's in there trying to liquidate anybody. Okay? So, seriously, just so you guys know, I don't think that there's anything to have to do with that. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I think it's just somebody coming in and saying that because, you know, again, when we looked at what's going on here, you know, they posted it right when it was around here when we were going to get that break of the swing here. And, you know, anybody that's been trading for any length of time should know that if you're losing that, you're probably coming down in this area here. And he's like, oh, yeah, 30,000. And look, there we are. Well, you know, again, if you trade and you know that ending diagonal's target where they begin, then 30 was an easy target. So you just put in some BS narrative in there and make people believe that there's some kind of coordinated attack on some other investor in the market, and that's why it went down. I think it's a bunch of nonsense, guys. Okay? So that's what I'm thinking anyway. Yeah. So, you know, again, I don't, you know, again, guys, I've been doing this so long, and I've seen just about every way that people try to, you know, believe that things are happening that aren't. Remember, guys, the way I trade is based on socionomic theory, which is what it's known as now, I guess. But it was the same thing that I came to over the years of doing this, which is why I push it so much. And it's just the way that people move, how people buy and sell, guys, fear and greed. You know, how is the greater of society feeling about things that are going on at the moment, and how does that translate into then what goes on with the market? So, like I said, you know, 24 could be incoming, but that's only if we lose the swing low here. Because in that case, it turns it from an ABC into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So, yeah, you know, it's possible it could go down there, but then that just makes this a 5. If we don't get below that swing low, though, and we get this and we get move up through these levels, you know, gradually increasing our confidence as it moves up, then it says, hey, the count is correct as it stands. Okay? Reed, what's going on? It says CNBC has been talking smack about every company in Bitcoin, so the coordinated from hedge funds is not unlikely. You know, again, I don't give news a whole bunch of thought because this stuff's in the charts before the news ever comes out, guys. You know, news and price action happens all day, every day. We only tend to attribute it to it at certain points. But if news really moves markets, then it's going to move it all the time. If news does not move the market every time, then news doesn't move the market. And we know it does not move it every time. And it does not move it the same way every time. Like you can have the same piece of news 2 days in a row. One sends price higher, the next day it sends it lower. Supposedly, right? Listen, guys, we've got go to get the socionomic theory of finance, guys. I'm telling you right now, it's going to change your life. And you don't have to spend 25 years going through this like I did. Did I spell that right? Oh, I spelled theory wrong. It's going to drive me nuts. But they've got a lot of great examples in there in which the news should have been correct. Big news, and the opposite happened. So again, because news does not always move markets, and the same news does not move the market the same way 2 days in a row, it means that necessarily it's a BS narrative, guys. You know, people just try to attribute that news to try and find a story for why price is moving the way it is. But it's already in the chart. Do I use Wyckoff charts? I do. That's what I talked about at the beginning, Timmy. Yeah. If you missed the beginning of the stream, definitely make sure you watch it when we're done here. And you'll see my thoughts about a larger Wyckoff distribution scenario. But, you know, we just began it, so we've got higher to go still within that. So, yeah. Anyway, Corey coming in with the Wyckoff there. Let me see here. What's the possible scenario for you again if it stays at 33, 34? Oh, as long as we don't drop below this swing low, this is my scenario. We're 4. We're heading up for 5 of 3. Probably 71,000, maybe even 85,000, depending on how this plays out as it moves up. Yeah, as long as we stay above wave 4, we're good, I think. So, yeah. Wasn't a whole lot to talk about Wyckoff here other than what I said earlier, Hank. I think it's a good chance that we're starting that bigger Wyckoff, potentially a bigger Wyckoff scenario here. Let me kind of get rid of all this other stuff that I've got here real quick. So a little bit cleaner here. Yeah, you know, again, it would be something like this. So, you know, this becomes your preliminary supply. And so that's where your big volume comes in. Your big volume will either come in your preliminary supply or your buying climax. In this case, it came in the preliminary supply, goes up, buying climax. Strong move down, this big strong move down would suggest it's an automatic reaction. And so now we look to move to break out just a bit above to give us our wave, to finish out our wave 3, which gives us an up thrust. So this is phase A right here, which is the stopping phase. This becomes phase B, which is where you have the big between the supply and demand. Wave C will end probably, I'm thinking, I say wave C. Actually, this would all still be part of wave B here. So you're going to get this higher low here, and then you're going to get this up thrust after distribution. So up thrust and then up thrust after distribution. And then that completes 5 up, and then we move down, and we come on down. That's what I think. That's what I think we're doing as far as Wyckoff goes. So yeah. So that's what I'm looking at, guys, as far as this works out here. Now, real quick here, I haven't talked about stocks yet, so let me jump in there real quick. Let's get the NASDAQ up here for you guys. So NASDAQ, looking at basically a let me get rid of this. Basically, you got an A, a B, and then a C up here, which ended just around the 50% retracement area. And I think, you know, that's going to mark wave 2, or it could be wave B. Remember, we've got to get it pretty low down to kind of confirm that this top is in. So this could be 1 or A, and this could be 2 or B. And so in either case, what you're looking at then, if this is A and then B, then we're probably looking for C down here at about 12,400, 12,460. At this point, wave C would be equal to wave A. If this is a 1, 2, 3, then we're looking closer down here to, I've got that a little bit further down. There we go. Right there around the 11,795 kind of area. And then wave 4 up here, which would be the bottom of the range. You know, this makes a lot of sense. We've got this range here. Break down through the range, back up, rejected at the range here around 12.4. And then come on down for wave 5 down here around 11.402 at least. So, you know, you could see something like this playing out for that there, if that tops in. So definitely something to look there. Have I seen the logarithmic growth curve cap for Bitcoin? Pretty compelling that we top for this cycle. Lines up with diminishing returns trends since beginning of Bitcoin. Yeah, you know, I've seen all that kind of stuff, guys, and it's possible. You know, as I've told you about, it is possible. If we get breakdowns, you know, that'll start building that case. But Again, just looking at the idea that there's all this negative news, it makes it hard to recognize that the top's going to be in. Because again, bull market tops come on euphoria and this belief that it's never going to end. And we've had nothing but negative news. So, we'll see where it goes, but kind of looking at that, And then looking at the bigger potential for the Wyckoff there, maybe. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised. Assad, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Tesla sold some, if not all, of their Bitcoin. He says they didn't. I don't know that I believe that. So, yeah, let me see here. So then we'll come and jump over here. So, again, you leave the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ's going to lead your markets, guys. As I told you as we were rising, I said, NASDAQ kept pushing higher and kind of pulling the other indexes up with it. And I said that once we lose the NASDAQ, I said everything else is going to follow down with it. And that's pretty much what's happening, right? So if we go here and we look at the S&P E-minis right here. There we go. Again, possibly A, B, C here, completing between the 70.5 to 78.6 retracement. We're looking for an impulsive drop down below the pivot, which would be your first clue that the top's in. Continued drop down below wave B here would say, okay, would add a lot of confidence to it. And then you're looking for wave 3, potentially down here at around 38, 39. But again, if this is an A and a B and we've got a C, then price would only probably get to, I'm a little bit off here. Just kind of pulled this real quick. Would probably only get to around 39.77 there. I guess we'll get this up a little bit here. It looks like closer to 38.54 for wave 3. But, again, at 39.77 here, wave C would be equal to wave A. And that's generally what we look for with that. But if it continues going down there, we'll look right here at the 38.54 and check this as a 1, 2, 3 coming down on it. Let me see here. And then, of course, if we look at the Dow Jones, which is the other index that we track here a couple of times a day for our members. Yeah, this one I'm kind of looking at here going, okay, not sure what's up at the moment. I've got an A up and then a B down as a flat. And so then I've got basically a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's possible this could be an ending diagonal here. So A, B, C is 1, 2. A, B, C is 3, 4. And then A, B, C is 5. And it finishes up near the top, which is what we expect. But we need a breakdown below this pivot here where that swing low for wave 4 is on this flat correction. We need to see that that drop down below the pivot there, impulsive move down to kind of say that this is the top here. As long as we get a reversal prior to that, we're still looking for potentially 34,529. And if it gets above that, it will probably fill in this May 11th gap over here and get us up around the 78.6 at 34,762. But with the other indexes kind of pulling back, I think this might be the top in here. And so we'll look for the first clue being the drop down through wave 4. And then, continue drop down through wave B being the added confidence that, hey, we've got wave 3 or C in progress. So, yeah. Oh, I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of euphoria. And as a matter of fact, if you were following me for the last few months, I've made note of that many, many times. And everybody got on here and argued with me. There's no euphoria. We're not euphoric. But like I said, with the negative news coming in, it seems much more likely to be an interim top than a full top. Because the bull run ends on good news. Yeah. So that's my whole idea there, Duff Trades. I think it's what your name was there, right? Yeah. So yeah, again, as I talked about earlier, there are possibilities. 5 could be in. But we're going to definitely have to see some further movement down to kind of really take that seriously, I think. So as long as you're playing the zones that we're at, the levels we're at, you're good. You know where your invalidation is. You know where your validation levels are. And you know what to expect. So you can make a lot of money without having to believe that wave 3 of 5 or 3, I mean wave 3 of 3 or 3 or 5, or is at the top there. You don't have to know. You can trade it as it moves. Make a ton of money either way. Okay? So, yeah. A lot of possibilities here, guys. Like I said, that's why I gave you the levels I gave you to look at. If you're moving up through them, then likely it's 4 done. We're up. We're headed up. If you're dropping below the swing low from the other day, then that opens up the idea that this rally right now over the last day and a half, 2 days, has only been wave 4. And we've got wave 5 still coming down to those mid-20s to complete wave A. Okay, guys? So make sure you guys are listening to what I'm saying here. All right? I don't mince words a lot here. I kind of say what's up, right? Man, the DXY, man, we talk about that. Again, guys, with the proximity to the invalidation level here, this is the January low. Right now is the macro low, 89.209. With the proximity to it, you have to generally lean toward the idea that it's going to go lower, but it may not. It may not. And so right now, my count has this slightly lower low, 5 waves down may have been wave 5 of C of 2, and we're heading up. But in order for that to be, we've got to break out above wave 4 here. We have to break out above wave 4 there. And then what we need to do is we need to break out above this large descending channel resistance. That'll be our first clue, getting through this, that the bottom may be in. We need to get up through wave B here to add confidence to that count. But ultimately, as I continue to tell you guys, we've got to get up above 94.741 to really feel like that macro low down here in January is in. Now, I did make mention the other day that contrary to us being so close here, I said the other side of this being so close to getting here is everybody thinks it's going to break down. So we always talk about max pain. How do you really set the pain in there, right? Well, if everybody's expecting to break down because it's so close to it there and instead it goes up, guess what, guys? It's pretty, it would be a pretty painful thing for USD bears. So I don't know I don't have a bias at this point now. I think logically the proximity of the low here today to the invalidation level, as I said the other day, the proximity of price to invalidation level means that logically it's more likely going to break down into the mid 80s or mid 88s, I'm sorry, to potentially complete that wave 5 and then get the macro reversal. But, again, the other way to look at it is if everybody's expected to go down there and it turns and reverses, that's going to put them in a bad position. Dollar bears are going to be in a bad position. They're going to have rush to cover, and that's going to drive price higher, faster, further, and that, of course, is going to run havoc on other assets. Now, it's possible also that there's a double bottom here. Eve and Adam, double bottom. Eve being the wide head, Adam being this sharp head. And so if we get a break above wave 4 here, if that's a double bottom printing, then we've got a pattern target of about 90.917 there, which takes us up just around this wave 2 area. And so, it takes us above the 1 hour and 4 hour pivot. It takes us above the descending channel resistance, which, by the way, that channel has been pretty solid there since up here on 30th of March. So yeah, again, you have A down, B up, and then you have C as an ending diagonal here, basically, is how this would play out. See this right here? So, it makes a good case for potentially being bottomed and heading up. But man, oh man, until it does it, I think we're really just kind of waiting to see what goes on here. By the way, you also notice there's a bit of bullish divergence showing up here on the 1 hour prior to today's move up, at that lowish area right here. So coming in actually from this low area here to this lower low gives us the higher low going off here for the DXY. So, if anything, it gives us a bounce, but, things start getting interesting if we crack out above wave 4, if we continue up above the descending channel resistance. Things really start getting interesting then. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't even think about Bitcoin in the 20s until it breaks down below what it did the other day, as I continue to say. Yeah, so. So yeah. Let me see here. Just trying to get some of these charts in here, guys. We'll look at Ethereum in a minute. I know somebody was asking about that. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Oil. Oil's been doing what we've been looking for it to do. Continual breakdown. Looking for this move up for a wave 2. Either a wave 2 or a wave B. There's a possibility that we could have this large triangle playing here. So ABC down, ABC up, ABC down. But, if this is wave 2, it should reverse prior to, this area up here. Come on back down. And that would give us a wave 3, potentially toward the mid-55s. And heading down from there. So this is kind of interesting going on here. And what makes this interesting is you have the breakdown out of the range here. So you had the breakdown of the range here, and then you made a higher low, right? And that's what you want to see if you're bullish. If you're breaking down out of the range, getting rejected of the range, and making lower lows, that starts questioning whether this, whether you're going to continue up from there. You're usually looking for a rejection and continuing down lower at that point. So yeah. ADA, yeah, I can do that here in a minute as well. Let me see here. Let me throw on Ethereum while I'm thinking about it real quick, guys. Yeah, there's a lot of potential bullishness on the DXY. Like I said, man, Mark, glad you're seeing that. It's just as close as it is to the to that macro low there. You don't want to get overly excited about it potentially being a reversal, but there's a lot of things building up that says it could be. And again, if we look at how are we going to inflict the most pain? With everybody trying to short, thinking the dollar is going to drop below that macro January low, and instead it reverses and heads up. I mean, again, you're going to have them rushing to cover all these people that have come in lately to try and short it. Those late shorters there. So I'm not, I'm not really leaning either way at the moment. I can definitely see the case for either one. But I think, we'll see how it plays out for sure. Let me see here. So, again, the idea is everything is kind of coming into this same wave 4 wave 4 of 3 thing. So that's what I'm kind of looking at here. We have A, B, and then we've got 1, 2, 3 triangles of 4, and then 5 on the drop. And then potentially we've got, again, the same idea here. 1 with this expanded, or with this flat here. Let me kind of zoom in a bit. So you go with 1 up, and then ABC down, ABC up. See, that right there tells me potentially we've got a flat going on here. So 1, A, B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comes on down, maybe taps into the wick here, into this 1 hour demand structure here. So I can see a move down to the S3 pivot here. Heck, maybe even the EQ here, which you'll notice the previous wick is right there at it. So yeah, I could potentially see a move down to 2101, maybe down to 1998, potentially to finish this out. So we've got a 1, 2, and you've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5 on a dip below this. So you've got what you actually have here. Again, think in terms of, ranges. So Wyckoff thoughts here, right? So you've got this range. So you get a dip below the range lows, freaking everybody out because now you got a lower low, making them think that it's gonna go lower. So they sell. Instead, it gets bought up and heads back up. Now, interestingly, right here, look at the volume right here. on these 3 candles. Look at how that volume, it's a spike of volume above the average area here, and it's gone a little bit higher each time. But look at how the candle spreads have changed. Large candle spread, much smaller candle spread, and a reversal candle spread there. So supply, supply, demand, as volumes increasing just a bit. So this tells you that you're getting greater result for your effort here over these 3 candles. Well, demand is. Supply is getting worse results for their effort, okay? So they're putting more and more effort, but the candle spreads got smaller and then flipped to a demand side candle there. So we should at least get a little bit of a bounce here, is what I'm thinking. Now, the other possibility here is we've got a 1, 2, and as you can see here on the 1 hour, I don't know, we've got these 2 here. So maybe you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got a flat here for 2. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2 is a flat and heading back up. Or again, you look at the bigger structure here, which is 1, and then A, B, C working out as a flat for 2. So what does that mean? Well, that means all you have to do in order to trade this is see if you get a dip down below here and then look for it to get bought back up and then ride that back up, right? Or if it doesn't get below there, instead just turns around from here or a little bit lower here and gets back above this way, then you've got what probably is a 1, 2, and then 1, and then A, B, C is a flat for 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 going up. So it really just becomes this range right here. If you get a breakdown, it's probably just going to be temporary and then bounce back up. If you get a break out of the top here, it means that this is a 1, 2, 1, 2 heading up. The only time you worry, I think, again, is if it drops below the swing low here. So you're getting the same basic structures across these large pairs, Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever, that you have there with Bitcoin, which makes sense with what's going on with the market and what we've talked about as far as Bitcoin, its relationship to the rest of crypto. So, yeah. Point Zero is nervous, says, I was long from 36.6 and thought it was a good entry, but seems like price is lingering here way too long. Well, again, proper risk management would have meant that wherever you entered, your stop loss was right below this swing low, and you're not losing more than 1%, especially if you're a brand new trader. If you're a new trader, guys, if you're not consistently profitable, you would have lost no more than 1% of your portfolio if it drops below there. If you're losing anything else, you took too big a position, probably over-leveraged on that as well, and, you have a right to be nervous in that point, sure, because, that's a lot of money lost if you can even make it that low. Hey, Duff, always great to have you check in, buddy. Take care, man. 2019 there, you said, I think this is the longest I've stayed on a Twitch stream. Don't even mind. I'm learning. Man, I'm glad to hear that. Again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but, I can guarantee you that if you're hanging around and paying attention, there's a lot to be learned. And I tend to repeat things from different streams, about trading, and I repeat them for a reason. They're very important to know. I want you guys to get it inside you that you don't even think about it, that it just happens and you're like, oh, okay. And you don't even have to say, oh, well, if it does this, this, then this, I want it to all be front of mind for you guys, okay? Let me see here. Hey, Simple Rick, glad to have you here, bud. So right here, let me kind of check in here. My thought about tokenomics, a role in the future. I think there's a possibility for it. I really do. I'm not sure, guys, that what we see as cryptocurrency and blockchain right now is what's going to ultimately be what is. Now, this is something I talked about in 2018. So some of you that were following back then might remember me talking about this. But there is the possibility that Bitcoin and not even Bitcoin, but cryptocurrencies and this whole kind of what's going on in this area, that it doesn't look anything like it does right now, 5 or 10 years from now. This is like the beginning, it's that first bit, the research area. It's where your first kind of ideas flow out there. and you're seeing what's working, what's not, what bits of what are working, and then eventually it morphs into something that looks a lot different than what it does today. Ernest, I appreciate you, man. Can you go to sleep? I don't know, man. Can you go to sleep? I don't know. Hey, Demas, I appreciate you, man. Let me see here. This is when hairs start growing in the weird places phase. Yeah, exactly. And you kind of get rid of that part where that weird hair is growing. Yeah, and you kind of make it a little bit different there. Sure. Again, guys, I know everybody's nervous right now. Most people are nervous right now. And I know you want somebody to definitively tell you that you bought in and you're fine. But the reality of it is we don't know yet. I think we're probably good for higher up, again, as I've been saying this entire stream. But, you just don't blindly trade on what somebody thinks. Not even me, guys. Again, don't just automatically, blindly follow whatever I say about where targets are and prices are going. All of this has to do with the idea that we're going to watch our validation and invalidation levels. So right here for Ethereum, like Bitcoin, you want to see a move above this wave 4 of C here. So it's right here at about 34.6798. If you get above that, that's your first clue the bottom's probably in. If you get above wave B up here at 41.77 and 77 cents, this is on Coinbase, then that'll add a lot of confidence to it. In other words, it means you're probably headed up. The other way to look at it, even Elliott Wave and everything else out, is if you get above the pivot here, if you're coming from down here, moving up above the pivot, that's bullish if you're trading pivots, and you should expect price to continue running higher. So yeah. So depending on how you want to look at it, what's going on there, there are different ways to look. But there's nothing that can tell you right at this moment, that can guarantee you that that your buy is safe or whatever. Like I said, I bought Litecoin. Let me pull up my Litecoin chart here. I told you earlier where I bought it there. I read it off the exchange there. It closed out on me. Oh well. I think it was 170 something and then 190 something. And so, again, so I would have bought it right around here initially and then got my other buy-in right about here. I bought it on this move back up that morning. I let Discord know that morning that I did as well. But, again, same idea here, guys. Potentially one up, ABC down, ABC up, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dip below your range lows here. Scare people into believing it's going to go down further. And instead, it just completes this idea of this 1, 2 maybe. And then we head up for 3 potentially. Now, again, I'm not saying this is definitely what's going to happen. This, based on the structure here, is what I'm potentially looking at if we're bullish. Again, if we drop down below this swing low, this is 146.19 on Coinbase. If we drop below that, everything opens up as a potential, different count now. We may even look at this as maybe a 1 and then A, B, C as a 2 as a flat here. And this becomes 3. Let me see if that works. Yeah, look at that. You're well below. You're 2.272. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, right above the 38.2, which is this 100%. Well, I guess it'll be more than 38.2 because it went down further there. Let me see if we run it from there. I don't know. See, now this one's a little bit higher here. So if we're doing this, maybe not. I like, on Bitcoin, it's the 38.2. On this one, you're almost hitting the 61.8, which becomes the iffy area on a wave 4. I mean, it can still be a wave 4. As long as it doesn't go through wave 1, you can continue up. But once you get above 50 and you start getting around that 61.8, you start questioning whether it's a 4. So, I like the movement up here. Went further up on that. I mean, I guess, you could potentially run this up as an AB here. Same idea. Just have like a leading diagonal here. But even that, you're right around the 50%. So, we'll see how it plays out here. I'm looking for a breakout of this descending resistance to kind of set up something good, possibly. That gives you a pattern target of about 129.5 above the point of breakout, which should get you up, it gets you right up there around the 1 hour, 4 hour pivot right there. So yeah, so I think wave 4 is in, so that's why I bought. But, again, this is, my risk management is fine. If we drop below this swing low, I'm out. It's not a big loss at all. So, again, I'm trading properly. If you're going all in or all in plus leverage or just some really large outsized position, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to trade it properly because you're going to lose so much if you can make it down below that swing low. So, yeah. Let me see here. Do I mind zooming in a bit? I don't know. This is the 1 hour chart. I mean, you can zoom into the 15-minute. Not really sure it's going to help you much there. So, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, run to say here real quick, guys. I saw Lamb's mention about property. So, right here, existing home sales came out. 5.85 million versus an expected 6.07 million. So there's a drop in existing home sales. If you're following lumber, you'll know it's had like a 25%, 30% drop. Lumber was leading this big, huge move up. Lumber, copper, corn. And I've been talking about the possibilities of these big kind of these blow-offs that we've had and everything coming back down. If you're looking at the broader economy, you want to look at housing. And if housing is not reaching the expectations there, that's not a good sign. So, again, I take note of these things. That's a pretty big miss, 5.85 versus 6.07 expected. That's a point, I can't even think now, was that 0.22 million miss there? So existing home sales month over month, they were expecting an increase of 1%. They had a decrease of almost 3%. So again, strong miss on that. So in terms of the larger economy, that's not what you want to see, right? Yeah. This chart right here. This is Christian Fromertz right here. So CEO of the Tribeca Trade Group. This is Bloomberg terminal here. So Bloomberg. By the way, guys, if you're ever into it and you think you want all this kind of cool stuff here that Bloomberg gets you, then you can spend about I think it's 20 or 25,000 a year right now for a Bloomberg license. So you can jump there on that. Really, the biggest thing about Bloomberg is the chat function on it. For those who are wheeling and dealing, a lot of the deals that end up coming out with these big companies start there in the chat, the chat. So that's the big thing about Bloomberg that you can get there. Let me see here. Let's see here. ADA. Let me catch up with you. Yep, I'll get you ADA right now. Which one are we looking at here? I'll just look at that. That's fine. Oh, I could have put it in Dow Jones. Again, ADA, same as everybody else. Kind of looking at this as a thing here. K7 CFO, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you. You didn't have to do that, but I do appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. Again, looking at the same idea that this would be a wave 4 finishing here. As you can see, it hits almost, again, exactly the 38.2. Some other big things I like here is that if you're just looking at pivots, you get a drop down through the pivot, bounces off the S1, closes back above the pivot. That's a pretty strong pivot move there. Usually means you're going to continue up higher. Again, can't guarantee it, but usually that's what it means. In terms of my demand structures and whatnot that I draw, you've got this daily demand structure right here that price hit the top of. Right, it's right here in the wick here, where it starts at the low of this one here. I guess I'll try and draw it. Got so much other stuff on the chart though. Right there, that demand structure right there. And we tapped it and took off. There's a lot of bullishness in something like that, being done. So I definitely like that as far as that goes. Zooming back in there. If wave 4 is in, I'm looking for a minimum target of 2.962, secondary target of 4.1170. Now, the other thing is I've got this wave 4 channel. If my count's correct, we've got this wave 2 channel. And so a breakout of this channel gives you a channel target of about 1.5684 above the point of breakout, which is likely to take it right around this secondary target. So, but again, same as everything else. As long as it doesn't go below the swing low, I think we're good for higher. Locally, potentially just a flat correction kind of playing out here. Let me see if I can get a good time frame here. Here we go. So again, potentially 1 and then ABC down, ABC up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably get you around the swing low, maybe dip a little bit lower. But that gets you your 1 and then your 2, and then you go up. Easy way to look at it here is your 1 hour and 4 hour. Your pivots are just about the same. And so the goal is to get an impulsive breakout above the pivot. If you can do that, that says the bottom's probably in and you're heading up toward those higher targets. So yeah. There we go, guys. Six-pack, glad to have you here. Unfortunately, Notorious. Yeah, that's who you are, right? I can't look at EOS and TRX today. It's 1 o'clock. So, my 2-hour limit is up here. And by the way, guys, follow me on Twitter at TX West Capital. I don't post a whole bunch of stuff out there like everybody else, but it's because I spend so much time working with Discord. Again, guys, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face that what we do at DWC is just well beyond what anybody else does with their stuff out there. But I would say, give it a try. Jump on in there. Tier 3 will get you absolutely everything we do. Get you 2 live streams a week, one with tips, tricks, and techniques, another one with Elliott Wave, and then we're about to start a third one with Wyckoff every week for an hour, in addition to all the other stuff that we do there. So, we'd love to have you there, guys. The community is absolutely amazing bunch of traders. I couldn't have asked for a greater group of people to be a part of what we do, honestly. I really couldn't. And you're going to find out when you join, you're going to find out why most of them have been there a couple of years. A lot of them have been there since basically the beginning. Scott was one of the very first people to join us back in when I first started this in September of 2017. And we've got a lot of other members that have been from around that time, a little bit after as well. And, they stick around for a reason, guys. So hopefully you understand that. But I think they're the bigger reason why to be there. But other than that, you know what? Try out the way I look at it, man. Try out the tier 3 for a month. But before you do, make sure you're ready to soak up as much information as you can. Because we've got I think it's over 90 hours now of video education in there. And you can't get through it all in a month. But if you're going to join tier 3 just for a month, just make sure you're ready with all your outside stuff that you can, spend a whole bunch of time with it and just soak up as much as possible. Because even if you only stay for a month, you're going to be so much further ahead than when you came in with the things you're going to learn that we've already got posted there. Okay? We've got some tier 3 members here talking about tier 3. So, you can take their word for it. My Discord, you can always get it right up here on my profile. But let me go ahead and get it right here for you. And that'll take you to the free side in there. And then you should get a welcome screen from Discord when you do that. We do have a free trial. It only gives you a few channels, but it gives you an idea of what we're doing in there. As far as our, what you get here, I guess I'll show you this real quick, guys, before I go here, all right? Let's see. Let me kind of pull up my screen here so I can make sure that you guys are seeing everything here. Oh, yeah, there we go. These are the channels. I mean, if you're tier 3, basically, you're getting all this. All the way down there. So tons of stuff going on. Again, your weekly educational stuff, and then the links to everything we've done. Everything that I do as far as the weekly stuff for tier 3 is always archived and put, here for you to access. So you get to see everything we've done. We've been doing that since July, I think, of last year, weekly. And then a month back or so, a little bit over a month back, we started twice a week. And like I said, we'll be doing 3 times a week coming up here. But discussions for the various things that we track up here. We do weekly updates to the crypto indexes. I'm a little bit behind on the chart requests. I'm trying to catch up again, but those of you that know what's going on, you know what? Here, I'll give you guys an update. I know some of you guys continue to ask me in private message and everything. So brother-in-law still in the hospital, 3rd month of ICU. He went in with COVID. He has been on the ECMO machine for 7 or 8 weeks now. Average time is about 2.5 to 3 weeks. So he's been on a really, really long time. He was on dialysis, 24/7 dialysis for the last 3.5 weeks. They finally took him off that. They had to put a feeding tube in because the thrush is so bad from all the medication and everything that he can't barely swallow. He's got some kind of bleeding now. He's coughing out blood. They're not sure where it's coming from. But they have to, because the ECMO machine, they have to keep him on blood thinners. My sister just went in the other day, and they told her that there's a procedure that they can do where they trach him, and then they send a camera. Well, they stick him on a ventilator, they trach him, stick a camera in to his lungs and try to figure out what's going on because his lungs are getting worse. But the problem with that is he may not be strong enough to handle it. He may not wake up from the anesthesia. All in all, it's a pretty bad situation, so it's not, unfortunately, getting much better. I mean, the fact they took him off the dialysis, I like that. But, he still needs the ECMO machine. His lungs are still getting worse. So for those of you that have been following along for the last 3 months, that's kind of where we're at with all that. So anyway. So there we go, guys. That's kind of where we're at, all right? So I just want to kind of give you a quick update there. I don't know if they're going to do that. He wants to do it. My sister, of course, is very, his wife is very, very upset about all this tough time. They've got a 10-year-old son. Nightmares, of course, because, he doesn't get to see Dad except by video occasionally. Dad's got, brother-in-law's got ICU delirium as well for being in there. So he's not always... His reality is not always what's real. So it's just a tough situation all around. But anyway, guys, so there we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to kind of keep you up because I did kind of mention that, 3 months ago. And I know some of you guys, care about what's going on and you want to hear it. So there you go. But that'll be it, guys. Again, we'd love to have you. So, you can join us right here at howtotradetowin.com. Come on in there and just see for yourself why we continue to do what we do and why I think it's probably the best thing going around and why many, our members generally agree. But if not, I'll be back next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll check out and see what happened over the weekend and see if we can get some footing on for the rest of the week, all right? You guys have a great day, a great weekend. You trade safe. And remember, everything I talk about here, at the end of the day, the only thing you control is how much you lose. That's it. So I'm going to tell you something that nobody else out there tells you. Risk management is where you make your money. If you choose to ignore proper risk management, you're never going to get to where you want to go. I promise you that. 25 years of doing this, I'm telling you, that is the secret sauce. That is the key. All right? So spend more time working on your risk management, getting it perfect, as perfect as possible, than anything else, and you'll have a lot better return on your money for that, okay? You guys have a great weekend. Take care, and I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Or, hey, maybe in Discord, right? Have a great weekend.